want to talk about the 2024 budget. We've seen assumptions and all that, but revenue projection is very important. Do you think that the government can also, I know Murphy, the assets were not signaled into the budget, which would have been a projection of these kind of revenues we'll get from our state assets and enterprises. What can be done to remedy that? Because we really need revenue to address the issue of deficit financing and even the capital expenditure funding.
The unfolding reality is as follows. The Tinubu regime met a situation in which government revenue had been dwindling, has been declining, and the revenue declarations in the budget were never attained in the last 7 years. You know, you wake up in the beginning of the year and you say you are going to get 9 trillion or 10 trillion. But the peak that the Buhari government got was 7 trillion as of 2022. And they started with 4 trillion in 2015. They met a 4 trillion budget in 2015, revenue in 2015, and in
space of almost 7 years.
2017, it was 4 trillion. It stayed more or less stagnant at 4 trillion till 2020, which was the year where we paid a little more, you know, in debt service than the revenue. So revenue had been stagnant. And it was stagnant until, so they had planned to raise about 10 trillion in revenue for this year. And it was clear to all of us when they made the announcement in last year that they won't make it. And of course, they didn't make it. Up to July, they didn't make it. If you looked at realized revenue in July, that's after 7 months, they had made 5 trillion. It took the impact of the unification of the foreign exchange market done by President Tinubu to put an end to that. So they had a shortfall of 20% from, you know, projected prorated revenue up to September. But up to July. But by September, as the, you know, revenue leakage blocking that the president succeeded, we met the projection, prorated projection up to September, and exceeded it by 4%. That was good. So we got 5 trillion in 7 months to July. By September, it has jumped to 8.6 trillion. So if you got about 3.6 trillion in 2 months compared to 5 trillion in 7 months, you see that a regime change has occurred. And so it's in the light of that regime change that the 2024 budget projection of 18 trillion in 2024 is credible, is achievable. And it's, you know, successfully we will be breaking through 10 trillion barrier for the first time. We're aiming at 18 trillion. Some say it could even be better. But a big note of warning is that if you look at the dollar value of 4 trillion in 2015, when the exchange rate was 160, yes, and the dollar value of 18 trillion in 2024, when the dollar is 800, 1,000. So 4 trillion in 2015 is more than 18 trillion in 2024. 4 trillion in 2016 was divided by 160, was $25 billion. And 18 trillion in 2024, if you divide by 1,000, is $18 billion. If you say, okay, no, it's not 1,000, it's 800, or it's 800 and whatever, it's going to be 20 billion. Yeah. Okay? So we need to do more. Okay, it's better than not achieving 10 trillion. Okay, so we seem now to have enough to cover recurrent
expenditure,
including debt service. But the major problem with the budget this year is that the key shortfall is in capital spending. They planned, 6 trillion for the year, but as of September, they had only achieved 25%. And it's not likely that that's going to change before the end of the year, which is what makes the conversation about turning to your assets and the liquidity that you can unlock from it. That's what it makes it make sense, and it makes it urgent. That unless we actually do this now, you can't afford the luxury of saying our revenue projection doesn't include MOFI. Okay, if the revenue projection doesn't include return on MOFI assets, then the financing discussion, it should be front and center of the financing decision. That we don't want to borrow debt. There are two liabilities you can incur. You can incur debt liabilities, or you can incur equity liabilities. And the key difference between the two is that to incur equity liabilities, you have to put assets on the table. And say, oh, this company, I'm going to sell 5% of it. Oh, this real estate, I'm going to give a concession to rebuild. For example, National Stadium is there, and in zero. So if you award that to a foreign investor, I don't think that location is fit for National Stadium anymore. If you create, some better location that is not encroached upon by the city, and you turn this to maybe offices or luxury homes or shopping or recreation, something of value that will generate, returns commensurate with its market value. You can do the same with the Federal Secretariat. So you're talking about specific assets that can attract immediate investment and that could eventually earn the country least revenue. That conversation was missing from the proposed budget, and we need to put it there.